how I got over, how I got over. My soul looks back and wonder how I got over. Either save me or kill me.
Okay, so to go back a bit, the I guess the genesis for the next stage in your life after the Sheiks was
Right.
actually born out of business.
Yes, I realized, no credit to me, but I knew for years in the Sheiks, I loved them, they loved me, blah, 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 whatever. But I was outnumbered because they called it democracy. We'd go in a meeting, but they would always vote against me. And the more they did that, I had been, see, they didn't give credence to the fact that I had been performing on TV, radio, touring, and all this stuff all over the country. That I knew I learned things about the business. I've been a BMI writer for 65 years or more.
Wow.
I've been in the industry, but I was always outvoted, and it was all my music. And I was the lead singer, the piano player, the show, da da da. And so more and more I became frustrated because I knew inherently that to make it, I mean, really go further, which our fans expected, we would have to leave St. Louis and New Orleans and go to either New York or Los Angeles.
Sure.
There was no Nashville. I mean, yes, there was, but it's not like today. There was, I can truly say there was no Atlanta, with
Sure.
the industry and stuff. It was either New York or LA. I had family in LA. And so what happened was my late manager, that I had a manager for myself that started with me before the Sheiks ever started when I was a young kid. He came back into my life, thank you Lord, and rest in peace, Stan Plesser. A wonderful Jewish man that was very, very intuitive. He had the Cow Palace. He started that in Kansas City, Missouri, that huge palace where everybody played, all the great rock acts and stuff. He came by and did a drive-by and said, Michael, you ready? And he says, I've got a publishing deal for you with MCA, so that you can earn your keep and get in the industry. And then he made a deal for me to bring the Sheiks. So here I am back then with, thousands of dollars of a contract, and also a record contract for the Sheiks. And they would not leave. They would not leave. I offered to get a house because I would be making a lot of money, and I could do that because in the beginning we started in one house, and then the girlfriends came and da 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 da, and then everybody started moving away, But I said, give me 6 months of your life in Los Angeles. I had club dates and everything because by then we had played the Whiskey A Go Go, the Roxy, da 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 da.
Nice.
I said we could, I said with my MCA Universal contract, they'll set up all kinds of showcases for us, to introduce us into the industry, da 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 da. We can record the album, blah 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 blah. While I start working my publishing deal as well, and I had the money. They wouldn't do it.
And they were, at this time, they were in St. Louis or in New
No,
Orleans?
we were living in New Orleans.
Okay.
And this was early 90s, 1990. And so I said, well, I'll give you another year and a half of my life for you to decide. And we can do the circuit from Chicago all the way down for, blah, 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 blah. And so I kept telling, they didn't think I was going to leave.
Yeah.
I kept saying, please. I was begging them. In meetings, I'd be crying, saying, please, this, our fans, we can't go any higher than what we're doing
Right.
on the circuit. We can't. We have to go to the hubs, the real industry.
Sure.
That's the thing. You know, there is an industry here, but it's not the real industry as far as New York and L.A.
Right.
And of course Nashville now, and you know, Atlanta. And so I knew that, but they wouldn't listen to me. And finally, at the end of that year and a half, I said, well, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So at the end of that, long story not long, you got 4 hours. I said, well, I'm going. So we played the last, you know, circuit. Mm-hmm. And we ended up in St. Louis. We said goodbye to New Orleans. I cried for about 6 months. Just cried
break,
on
man.
stage, just
Yeah.
crying.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I hated to leave the band, and I knew that we could have made a more of a success of it if they had only you know taken my judgment, but they never listened to me anyway. So then we got back home to St. Louis, and we said goodbye to everybody, and so many, thank God for you, the wonderful fans here drove up, you know, flew up, whatever, basically drove up in caravans to see that last performance at Mississippi Nights, which was an iconic place to play on the river in St. Louis. I didn't know there was that much water in my body. I was crying, saying goodbye. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And then in the dressing room, you know, the only one that said, I'll say this, the only one that said a proper goodbye was Leslie Martin, the guitar player, he's no longer with us, but, you know, he hugged me. The other two wouldn't speak to me. That is the truth. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You know, and they predicted that I would fail in the career. I'm gonna love you like nobody's loved you. Come rain or come shine.
NewOrleansMusicians.com.